I mean, should we start off like showing off like our quarantine haircuts? Like, they're fine. They're not good, but they'll do.
Yeah.
Tony is much better than I am in quarantine haircut, barbershop type things. No,
Debatable.
way better than. Look at this. What is that? Was that a 2, a 1, a 1, and then a 2? Did you skip a 3?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Angel and Tony show. This is the quarantine edition because we no longer live on Earth anymore. So it's super awkward for us because we've been off for like 4 months or something like that. And now to bring it back, we have to bring it back in this whole other new format that's super weird. And hopefully this is recording right. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit more serious than usual. And we got a special guest who actually reached out to us because she had something that she wanted to talk about. And she thought that our show would be a great platform to do it. And I thought it was super awesome. And I think it's something that a lot of us can relate to now that we're all stuck in the house with nobody to deal with, nobody to distract us from ourselves.
Well, I think our guest is in the building. Our digital space building. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, I know, right? Nice to meet you.
Ashley and me go back a really long time, I think since like 7th or 8th grade. One of the cool things about doing this show has been that a lot of people that I'm friends with on Facebook or Instagram or whatever have seen us and listened to some of the show and like saw what we do. And this is one of the times where like somebody reached out to us to be like, hey man, I think this would be a good place for me to tell a story. We did a little bit of an intro thing before you came on, Ashley, so a good place to start would be maybe to tell us a little bit about, you know, where you're from. Tell us about your upbringing, your family.
My upbringing, probably similar to a lot of people out there. 2 parents fell in love, got divorced. For me, it was a very young age. I had 2 older siblings, a brother and a sister. I was the baby at the time of that divorce. Now, going into this whole story and kind of how my journey went with all of this, and I always tell myself and my parents that, and they don't really know, like this is kind of big for me because they don't really know everything. Like I live 2 different lives. And I always tell them when I have conversations about certain things that I understand, like why you got divorced, but I don't fault you. Like that is not why I developed the issues that I developed. And they both tried to do whatever they could just to keep a roof over our head, keep us happy, just a normal life. But it wasn't easy. And there's a lot of things that I saw and I witnessed, which kind of made me the young adult, little Miss Independent, stubborn at times person that I am today.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change anything that I've done to myself or what I've gone through for anything, because I know that it's definitely made me who I am and a big part of what I went through. I also went on a journey to find like God, or God found me, and that is something that I will never push down anybody's throat or anything like that, but like just lead by example. So finding God and having that person to talk to and knowing that there is a heaven and things like that, that has definitely kind of like kept me here on earth, amongst other things, and it has kind of molded me into a different person.
We should just address the elephant in the room in the first place.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that.
So let's, I wasn't expecting you to go that far, but that's good. That's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know this.
No, it's all good. So why don't you tell us like what we're here to talk about today?
So my purpose reaching out to you doing this is, I'm 34 years old and probably since I want to say it started 5th or 6th grade when I really started to pay attention and recognize things. I developed an eating disorder.
Mhm.
And it was both as you go on your journey with ED, as we call it. There's different types of eating disorders, but at a young age, you physically, you look at yourself and you notice things. And then as I got older, obviously, I went on my path of experimenting with different types of those eating disorders, right? So you have anorexia, bulimia were probably my 2 biggest ones that I fought with. So, that's what we're here to discuss today. And me coming to you is because it's like I said earlier on, we live 2 different lives. And now that I am the age that I am, and I have 2 nieces, and our family's changing and things like that, you notice things about yourself, and it's like you just want to like run on the top of a hill and scream and be like, this is what I have, and I need people to just understand I am the way I am because of this. And for me, I never sought help. I always read books or searched things, or I self-treated myself because I was always afraid that someone was going to put me away somewhere or take the control away from me, right? And with different types of disorders, whether you're alcoholic, drug, whatever, one thing I've definitely learned is when my control is taken away from me, I'm like, oh, I freak out, like I'm in control. So it's really hard, and I've noticed certain things with my personality, with when I spend time with my nieces, some things that they'll say to me, and it's like they're starting to recognize. And my sister and my mom know a little bit because I've definitely had moments in my life where I had to call them, or they found things. It was just brush it under the rug, So they know a little bit, but if I were to, put a projector on and show you my whole life, I think that I would probably make a lot of people cry, and myself also, because I would never wish this upon anybody, and it's just something that it happens. And a lot of people think girls do it because of they want to look a certain way, but a lot of it too is about other stuff that goes on in your life, and you just want control, perfection, you want everything to go right. It's just like any other disorder. It's a lot, but I wanted to talk about it and get it out there because I think a lot of people do have it, and guys too, and it's okay to have it, and it's okay to deal with it. One thing I've learned is I don't have a big group of girlfriends, and it's really hard for me to get along with other girls because I am the way that I am, and I find that I look at life different. So when I meet new girls, it's like trying to get someone to understand you or see your mindset, and they just don't understand. So I'm an introvert, but I'm also an extrovert.
What does that mean when you say that you are the way that you are?
So like my eating disorder, in the past and dealing with it, a lot of people, you read and it's like, don't let that run your life. Like it will always be a part of my life. It's always going to be there. It's always something I'm going to think about. When I meet people, friends, families, boyfriends, it's hard for me sometimes to have a relationship with somebody because they're like, well, let's go out to dinner. I'm like, yeah, I'm not the best. I'm a cheapskate, like I'm not going to sit there and have a meal with you. It's like I am the way that I am. And I say that because it's always going to be with me. I can't change this because it's always going to be on my mind. And it's hard just to have people just understand. They try to change you and they meet you. When you have these conversations with people, they just kind of like in one ear, out the other.
Yeah, like so I just want to like go into it like a little bit deeper. Like when you say you started to notice things, in 5th or 6th grade about yourself, like what kind of things did you start to notice? And like, what are the things that you might notice now that kind of like are your triggers, for lack of a better word?
Like, so for starters, for me, when I was young, my mom was, and you might have been at a few of my house gatherings because we hung out with like some of the same kids that were in bands, in high school and stuff. And one thing that someone always said was when you walked into my house, it looked like you walked into a hotel room. So my mom was always a perfectionist, and everything had to be perfect. You couldn't have a tissue in the garbage can and things like that. So as I got older, if the situation or my work environment or home life, any situation wasn't consistent or controlled, or there was a structure or routine, that would be a trigger for me. Or if I was sad, like things would trigger me to, I gotta make this perfect. How can I be perfect? And when you look at yourself with an eating disorder, so your body, the way that you look is your self-control. So you try to make that as perfect as you can. But then here's the kicker. So there's different types of eating disorders. You have anorexia and you have bulimia. So early on, I loved to run. I was always into fitness. And that was something that definitely came easy for me. But then it's like you read a little bit about different things, and it's like, you know, God, I would love to eat that cheeseburger. And then you realize, well, I can, and then I can get rid of it. And then I used to know that I could go run for an hour, 2 hours, and like defeat myself of whatever was left. And it's crazy because you get like this high after you get rid of it. So there's certain like triggers that people would set off in me that would trigger that binge. If someone was mad at me, if I disappointed somebody, things like that, or just, you know, being alone and not having anything to do. So I think I talked to you a little bit about, I did your boyfriend. So it's like when you're with somebody, you spend so much time with them. So if I had too much downtime, I would go to my ed and I would spend time with that. It's kind of scary because looking back on like life events and everything that I've done, I've wasted so much time with Ed. And as I got older, I started to realize like I have to nip this in the butt, you know. And when my sister had her first baby, there were moments when it was like, oh my God, if my niece called me or my sister called me, it was like, hey, let's go for a walk, you know, Nina in the stroller. And I just got done on a binge, like I couldn't go. So there's moments like that where it's like you scare yourself. But I definitely had moments, several moments where it's like, holy shit, you know.
And so where do you think that it got like the worst?
So my mom worked a lot. She's a full-time mom, was always at work. So I started things pretty hardcore in probably my freshman year of high school. And here's the other thing, start to pay attention to people's patterns or their routines. So like I knew that my mom would be gone all day. So when it came to homework and stuff, she never enforced that with me. So I would come home, do a little bit of homework, and then I would, you know, spend time with my ed, whether then, you know, exercising like crazy or having a binge, things like that. But definitely through high school, it kind of got crazy. And then probably after we graduated, I had a pretty dicey situation. It wasn't really a relationship. It was like 6 years long. And I don't want to say this, he lied to me the whole 6 years. But I was like head over heels. And I thought he was going to be the one. So it wasn't really a relationship. It was just, I was just in his web of lies for 6 years. And I think I was trying so hard to be so perfect for that person. And then obviously I was going through some things with my job at the time. I lived on my own, was trying to keep a roof over my head, so I had a routine. And that's probably when it got the worst. And then probably my early 30s was probably when I really grabbed the reins. But here's the thing, it's just like anything else. You have good days and you have bad days. And it's like up and down, up and down. And I've been in relationships with people, like men obviously, who I'll be honest with them up front, and they're like, well, you do you. And I'm like, okay. Like, so those relationships don't really last long. And the other thing about eating disorders is like you're looking for someone to just accept you, and you don't always find that. And then so you go back to your ed.
There's certain things that, because I don't know you, this is my first time meeting you, you know what I mean? So I'm, you know, I definitely like, thank you for telling your story. Like, appreciate that for sure. But when did you start having, you said 5th and 6th grade? I'm just trying to, I want to understand like you, just everything that happened, you know, leading up to that.
So like I said, like my parents were divorced and they're great parents. Like this is not their fault. But I started noticing like my mom was always at work, you know, the group of girls that I hung out with in grade school, like they shopped and they had like the cute clothes at all the fancy stores. And so I remember being young, and I remember I was always little, and then it's like every little girl goes through that like ugly stage. And I remember just being little and starting to look at myself in the mirror more. And I remember like not liking the clothes I had a little belly. Like it's so strange to me because it's like to think that at that age I was looking at myself like I had a belly or I wasn't skinny enough. And then the fact that my mom was just trying to keep the three of us clothes and make sure that we were, eating and things like that. Like she was just trying to take care of us. Her crazy single mom, thinks there was everything had to be perfect, and I was like, I have to be perfect. And kids are mean, so I definitely went through the emotions and the feelings of like having friendships with people, and they point other things out to you. And unfortunately, like I said, I have a niece. I noticed that she starts looking at herself, and then she'll come to me and be like, Auntie, how come I don't look like you? Or they'll say you have little bones, and I'm like, oh my God, like they notice it, just like I noticed it when I was young.
Is that when you started like binging? Like, what was your lane like during that time? Only because like it's crazy to me that I'm just gonna interject like a little bit of my story. Like I have had like my own relationship with food myself, right? And I remember it was like earlier for me, and it was like this like thing that I would do where I would like stuff a sandwich in my mouth, and then I would take the napkin that was packed in my lunchbox from my mom, and I would spit the whole sandwich out. Like, and I had no idea why I was doing it because I was like hungry. It was just it was like I never really understood it, So but everything that you're saying, like, it reminds me of like when I was in gym class, and I like sat down and I saw like my thighs for the first time. Like I saw them for the first time,
Right. Yeah.
Just a really interesting experience and like perspective. So I just wanted to see like where did you, because that's about the extent that I did like during that period. So I just wanted to see like kind of like where did you take it from there?
It's funny you say that because there was a kid in grade school, and he called me saddle size, and I was in sixth grade, and I'm like, and I remember too my sister making comments saying that I had size like my aunt, and that's just like the Polish in us or whatever. So you look at other kids, and it's like, well, I don't look like them. But then here's the thing. So then I think it was fourth or fifth grade, I had like my ugly stage, and then in sixth grade, I was like a beanpole. And then I remember being like that through junior high, but I still looked at myself. And it's crazy because people will give you compliments and say things. Like growing up, I was always told like I looked like Julia Roberts. And it's like, it's so hard for you to accept compliments because why are you laughing?
Because I definitely said that.
That's awesome.
But it's like you look at it and it's like, well, I don't believe that, And I mean, there's things that I would do to myself, like you check your wrist, you lay down at night and you try to put your hands in.
Oh my gosh, the checking of the wrist to make sure like it goes. Oh man. Yeah.
Checking of the wrist. Make sure your hands fit in your pelvic area when you lay down at night.
I didn't do that.
There's so many things that I used to do. Do clothes. Like I had clothes that were like, okay, well, this is my good outfit. I know that if I fit into this, okay, I'm okay. If I'm snug as a bug in it, then there's an issue. As I've gotten older and you go on your journey, you develop safe food. Like what's okay for me to consume, what's not okay for me to consume. Unfortunately for me, I remember when I got into high school for me was never easy. So a lot of that kind of plays a role. But also then you have the aspect of like depression. Like I wasn't always a happy girl, but I knew it. And when I started doing a lot of like clean eating, I was more aware of like my emotions and my thoughts. A lot of it was just I was really sad, and I saw my mom struggling and going through things and being angry. And I took a lot of that. Like I felt a lot of it. And I just wanted to be perfect for everybody around. Yeah, I felt like there were times when I would get yelled at and I did nothing wrong, So there's you give yourself a lot of abuse too. So there was definitely a lot of dark times.
I had asked you earlier, what did you think the turning point was, and you told me that it was when you got your dog.
Oh, little man.
So can you tell me kind of like the situation, like where you were before that, and like what led up to getting him, and like what changed for you, you know, in your head and your heart, like after you got him?
When you have an eating disorder, you have a routine. And I would get up early in the morning. I would run, do a full body workout, go to work, come home, binge, get rid of it, go to sleep. So you're doing that all day, every day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a moment where I had 2 days off, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to the pet store. So we went to the pet store, and I was just looking around. And at the time, I was all about big dogs, like didn't really care for the little one. And he was the last little fluff ball. And I was like, I want to see what all this like Pomeranian obsession is about. So she brought him out, and it was like love at first sight. And probably the only time. And like I just fell in love with it. So like I remember like I called my mom, and I was like, oh my God, like he's so cute. Like he tinkled, and it was like no bigger than a quarter. I was like, it'll be easy, you know?
Yeah.
So I left the pet store that night and went to work the next day. And my mom had called me, and she's like, I need you to stop over here on your way home from work. And I was like, okay, so I did. And when I got over there, she had bought the dog for me. So when I got little man, it was like having a newborn baby. Like I was so obsessed with him, and not like maybe somebody else would treat their dog. Like he was my responsibility. He was my world. Like he went everywhere with me. And over the years with him, it was like I have to stay here because no one would take care of little man the way that I would. Or like if I was gone, who would watch over little man? Because I didn't trust him with anybody. And he was my best friend, and I could go out and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But like as soon as I got home, like I was just Debbie Downer. So like if I had a really bad day, I was really good at faking it to put a smile on my face. And that's one thing that people have said about you is you're always so happy and bubbly. Yes, completely, I am. And I do believe in like a positive outlook on life. But on the inside, like I am screaming and I'm really sad. And little man, he was my best friend, you know, like he was always there when I came home. He would snuggle with me. He was just, I would always say, like, I can't leave until you go. And that's why I always refer to him as like my little guardian angel, because, you know, he's my guardian angel here on earth. He's never going to leave until I'm okay, you know,
So I can relate.
And it sounds good.
I can relate to the whole like dog best friend. I definitely have one, and she's definitely helped me through some things, for sure. It's just it's that unconditional love, you know, and she's really good at knowing when my emotions are like really low, because she'll come and literally like support, like she will come and like hug me. She'll even hug Tony when he feels it, to be honest. She's really in tune with emotions when it comes to that type of stuff. But what I wanted to ask you about that is something that I've personally learned through my own therapy and through being with my dog and my own self-reflection, is that like, is there a moment for you where you realize that it wasn't like, it's more internal than external with your dog? Like, I guess what I mean by that is, what I found was that I was starting to become like more like even codependent on my dog with certain things and certain emotions. And it wasn't until I like realized that I needed to face it on my own. And she's there to help me, but she's not there to do it for me. Every experience is different. I just was curious about it, you know?
It's hard because there's a lot of times when like, I'll be having a really good day, and it's like, you got nothing to do, and it's like, I feel like I'm going to have a binge, and the sun will be shining, and I'm like, don't do it. Like, you have to take the dog for a walk, or you can go outside and spend time with the dog. So there are definitely moments where I use little man to kind of help me get through my issue.
Sure.
And then there's moments where my own thoughts take over, and then I see him, and I'm like, I failed today. I let him down. Because there's a lot of times where he would just be curled up in a little ball waiting for me like outside of the bathroom, and it would break my heart. So there's definitely, most of the time that I've had him, I've definitely kind of used him to help me get through it, but then there's definitely times where I let him down. Does that make sense?
No, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, there's definitely she definitely keeps me active and keeps me on like a really good routine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The reason why I was asking is because there was a moment where I realized that like she was there to help me, but she can't do it for me. Like I have to actually make decisions to make improvements in my life and what I was doing. So I was just curious to see if that was something that you could relate to, or something that was maybe part of your journey or not.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because like I've always wanted to be, like, I can't wait to be a mom someday, and my sister would always say like, okay, but if you have a baby someday, you can't do that. And that's the other thing, is like there's just certain situations, like, don't have a boyfriend, not married, like I don't have what everybody else has right now, but it's like that day is going to come where like you get really frustrated and you think that you can have a binge. If you have a child, like you can't. You have to be there for that child, and there's definitely moments like.
But I think. Sorry, go ahead. I have.
No, go ahead.
I have a comment about that, because I think that like it's external pressures that really push people to certain things, and it's like if we allow those pressures to affect us internally, like that's what creates all this like internal rupture. Like, so for me, it's like if you're a mom, that doesn't mean that you're a mom so all your issues go away, or all of your, it doesn't work like that. It's not some magic thing. And that's what I mean is like, for me, the only way to move past, like different types of hardships or addictions or illnesses that we may have is looking within ourselves, and not for anything else or for anyone else, dog, boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, anything. Every time I've looked outside of something else other than myself, has never worked for me, and I'm still on my journey. I'm on my journey every single day, but it's only been improving since I've like looked inside of my own self, and not allowing any of these other pressures of like, whether it's society or my parents or my family or my friends, like, so that's just something that I wanted to comment. It's like, it's not just like this magic thing, that just, it's like, oh, there's these expectations, because I think those expectations are part of the problem.
It's funny that you say it, because like when I always believed in God. Like we didn't go to church every day, but like I felt like at a young age too, I definitely had moments where I wasn't alone, or that someone was speaking to me.
Totally.
And when I was at work one day, and I happened to be the one who always opens all the mail, and an attorney's business card fell out, and on the back of it, it said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways, trust in Him, and He will direct your path." So since then, I was like, in that moment, like it clicked, like I was supposed to see that, I was supposed to find that. And I think also my journey, not looking to little man or other things, but I relied heavily on God to get me through this too. So like I have a book that I've been reading since 2013, and I start over every year, and it helps me to just trust in Him, and to stop and take a breath and just relax. Everything's going to be okay. And for the longest time, like there was this church in my hometown, and it was just this little white church, and it said, "Jesus is the answer." And I would always take that street to work, and then one day the sign was gone, and like for the longest time it always said that, and it always kind of just like stuck with me. And then ever since then, they had never put like any other type of like saying. It's always reading or something like that on the sign. But for the longest time, it always said Jesus is the answer. And for me, I took that as like God was saying, like, I'm the answer. Come to me. Open up your heart to me. Just trust in me. Like, I will get you through this. And then I went on my journey, with God. And I tried today to just kind of lead by his example. And there's definitely moments where I get like really frustrated, and it's like, did I read my book today? Because exactly what I was dealing with, he was like trying to tell me about. It's like if I just took that time in the morning and gave it to him, I probably would have reacted differently to my situation.
So a lot about like discipline and regiment, I feel like, with anything really. And I think I've been, with all this quarantine crap, that's been a thing that I've been struggling with, is just like getting up every day and being like, do something. And that was another thing I was going to ask you, is like, I think when you have a struggle with depression, the worst thing to me is to like have to be by yourself, or like
Yeah.
not have, and kind of have that control taken from you. Because I definitely feel that, like, in the sense of, I can't go do the stuff that would make me feel better. Like I can't go to the beach, or I can't like go see my friends or ride my bike in certain places. One of the things that Angel had mentioned about even doing this in the first place was like that a lot of people are talking about that right now, and how like they're struggling with the fact that all of the things that they usually can do to distract themselves from dealing with whatever their major issues are gone. Like, so you're just like stuck with yourself.
Your issue,
And
yeah.
so that was a question I wanted to ask you, was just like, how has quarantine been for you?
So my quarantine probably isn't no different than my regular life, which is, I hate to say that, and it kind of makes me feel bad when you say that, but I'm an early bird. So like I still get up early in the morning, take the dog out. Ever since we got quarantined, so I've replaced going to work with, I get up, whether it's cold or hot outside, there's a certain spot I like to walk at. And I'm somebody who, if you have an eating disorder, you push your body to its past its limitation, because you want that perfection. You want to see something different. I have a spot I go to, and I walk for about 3 to 4 hours. And it's this really big lake, and it has this huge path around it. We all practice our social distancing, but that's my time to go in the morning and pretend I'm at work, so like little man gets through the alone time. But I go there, and that's where I collect my thoughts. That's where I just talk to myself, or I put on the comedy station and I listen. But I still keep my routine so that I'm not waking up in the morning and I'm having a binge. It's been a while since I've done, like a long time since I've done that, because as you get older, it's like, I don't want to miss out on certain things, you know? And I try to think like, well, if my life was different, you know, I would have to adapt to that situation. So I try to make sure that I don't let my ed take over. So as soon as I get up in the morning, I have 2 egg whites, I have my coffee, take care of little man, and I just go straight to the park and I take my walk. And then I come home, I take him for a walk. And then there's definitely those moments where like I get sad, but it's like in my head, I'm like, you have your routine. I have to keep my routine. And then if I don't have my walk, then there's days where I'm like, okay, well then you can't eat dinner tonight. And I eat the same thing every day, Monday through Sunday. So for me, it's having that routine. If I didn't have that routine, then I would crumble. And in my head, it's like if my sister was to call me and be like, hey, do you want to do a drive-by to go see my nieces right this time? Like, I want to be able to go and do it. So it's like I'm waiting around for something so that it doesn't prevent me from having a binge. And that's like, it's definitely like, I remember being younger, and it's like, you go to bed at night and it's like, ooh, what can I go get tomorrow? Like, you go get some hot wings and devour some hot wings, you know? And that you can't let that be what you're going to do tomorrow. You have to fill it with something else. So I would definitely say, as I've gotten older, I have a love for the outdoors. So just going outside, enjoying the sunshine, taking a walk, listening to the birdies chirp, like I enjoy that stuff. Like I don't need material things to make me happy. I'm definitely a minimalist, but I also don't want to miss out on anything anymore. So you're constantly talking to yourself in your head just to get yourself through the day.
And I think like what you were doing with the videos that you were making was really cool too, just because I think it was stuff that a lot of people feel
Yeah.
and can relate to and probably like needed to hear. And I think a lot of people are out here just like saying stuff, just their own thoughts.
Mhm.
And like we're in this place right now where like we don't have anything else to do but talk
Mhm.
to ourselves, and like our phones kind of are becoming that. But it's cool because
Mhm.
there's like a hive mind sort of thing going on right now, because everybody's just saying their thoughts into their phones, but then it's going out to everyone else,
Right.
and we're all kind of like hearing each other's
Mhm.
thoughts. And I think sometimes you hear stuff that you need to hear, and it's like a good thing.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I haven't posted any videos. I haven't done a lot on my own Instagram page. I made Little Man an Instagram page, and I've been doing a lot on his page. But I did a video, and without saying too much, somebody saw the video, and they immediately made it about them. And I was like, I did this for me because I felt like I was telling me to just speak on his behalf, like just, you know, let people know that like I do exist, that they can trust in the Lord. And it kind of, it bothered me. So I'm just like, okay, I gotta stop for a second and kind of think of like,
Can I ask?
what
Can
is
I
it?
ask you how they made it about themselves?
It was in regards, I want to say they made it about themselves, but like I had said something in the video, kind of like job related, and I was like, I'm not working right now. It wasn't that I was like quitting, but I'm not working, just like everybody else. We're not working. We're all just trying to get by day by day. And they thought that I was, gonna quit. I'm like, I'm not quitting. It's just I'm not working right now. And it was like all these people saw it, and then everybody started asking me questions. And like, I did this video for a different reason, not about your situation right now and how I'm going to help that situation. So like it kind of made me upset because I was trying to just spread a good word or like, just kind of say how I was feeling. And I just felt like it was like taken away from me to where like something I thought I felt really good about doing turned into something different, a different situation or a different problem. And so I felt like I couldn't say how I felt. And here's the thing too. So I'm a private person for the most part. So this is like huge for me to do, and even huge for me to have done those videos because when you have an eating disorder, everything's private. You want to keep everything hush hush. You don't want anybody to know. You want to look like this perfect cupcake on the outside and hide everything in the inside. So when I did that video, or when I did the videos, it was just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk about it. And it felt so good because I love God. Like I know He's there, and I know there's a heaven, and He gets me through my day. And when I did it, and it was taken into a different concept, like it just kind of like killed me. So like, I thought I could do this on a regular basis, and it would make me feel good. So now I gotta like take it and keep it away from other people. Does that make sense?
I mean,
I think
I think I can definitely relate to that. And I think anybody who is like an artist of any kind, like you make things from your heart and you put it out into the world, and
Yeah.
then you have to deal with people like criticizing it or dissecting it or doing whatever they do with it. But it's kind of part of
Yeah.
it. And you feel that like that ass whooping, and you kind of have to develop this tough skin after a while and realize that like you are gonna have an opinion, you're gonna say what you want to say, people are
Mm-hmm.
gonna take it how they take it. Some people are gonna take it bad, some people are gonna take it good, and you just have to like not let that stop you. Because even doing this show, like I've said, and Angel too, like we both said a ton of that like we never wanted to necessarily broadcast to the world before, but
Yeah.
kind of like after doing it so many times, we got to the point where we were just like, you know what, like this I am who I am. It does take time, but I think it's still, I wouldn't say like let that stop you as far as I'm.
no, yeah, and I mean, I'm just gonna piggyback off of what Tony said. Like, I just don't think I think as artists and creatives, like when we put stuff out there or anything, there's a sense of some sort of like outside validation, and it might not be like our intention at first. At least like it wasn't mine that I've realized, but what I've realized is that it was. Like a lot of the times you look for like outside forces to validate you, I'm speaking for myself, that's like what's going to kill you. Like it was what was killing me emotionally, you know? And so what I've been able to do lately, especially in quarantine, I've realized I've been working on, you know, my own creative stuff right now too. I can't allow like to get too high off positive comments and to get too low off negative comments. It's both. You know, if you get too high off of positive feedback and like everyone's gassing you up, like you're great, you're great, you're great. When someone doesn't like you, that's just gonna drive you down way lower. So now it's just kind of like, I'm gonna do what I do and I'm gonna put it out there, and it's stuff that's from my heart, and whether people like it or not, I'm still here. You know,
Wow,
you're not gonna knock me out, you're not gonna knock me down. So
bars.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Like, I don't like disappointing anybody. I don't like hurting anybody's feelings. And like, I think the last video I did, which
can I ask you though, real quick? Can I ask you one? Because you said something really interesting to me.
Oh no!
Like you said, I don't like disappointing people. So can I ask you one question? Do you like disappointing yourself?
No, I don't.
But if you had to choose disappointing yourself versus disappointing other people, who are you going to choose?
God damn.
I feel like here's the thing, it's like, I feel like right now being quarantined, we're struggling with that, because it's like, I love to work. I want to work. I want to get up in the morning and I want to work. And, but it's like, well, I can't work right now because I'm like in this waiting period. You know, you're either on unemployment, you're not on unemployment, like, you know, so there's definitely moments where I go on a roller coaster with it, because it's like, motherfucker, I'm coming first. Like, they can wait, I'm first. What I want to do comes first. But then I go back down the other road and I'm like, I can't disappoint them. I have to put them first. So I'm a little bit of both, and it's hard because I have a bad habit of, if I put me first, I always feel like I did the wrong thing. It's so hard for me.
But that is so programmed into us.
I know.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's like, until we can really restore ourselves, like, we can't help others. Like, we got to take care of us and like our being, so we can take care of other people. You know, it's like, because we can't keep perpetuating these things like, oh, like the selflessness of like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for this person. It's like, why would you know?
Because
like,
the other thing too with that is like, well, if you do that, then like as soon as that other person disappoints you, that disappointment has way more weight than it deserves. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you kind of got to like make sure you're managing your shit yourself, because you're giving other people too much power.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, it's funny because like there's definitely moments where like I'm not really so much like shaman. Every time I get into a situation, I go, okay, just be that person who observes. Always walk away and just mind your P's and Q's. I don't like to really like get in anybody's business. And it's like sometimes you find yourself, you know you're getting sucked into it, and just say, I gotta jump back out. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. And I'm the type of person where it's like, just do what you're told, follow the rules, and everything will be okay. You know, kind of calm down, look at everything, and just go with the flow. Just do your job. Don't get overworked. And sometimes I find other people will just like suck me into their situation or their drama, and it's like you have conversations or you may have said something that's like, this is not me. Like, I don't do this. And it's then I like pull myself back really hard, and then people are like, whoa, like, you have an issue. And it's like, I just don't like who I'm becoming. And I think with this quarantine, like, I felt that a lot. Like, I love my family, but like, I mean, Tony will admit it, like, I'm really old school. Like, I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have anything, you know, like, I'm an old bird. I want to talk about positive things, good things. I don't want to like get on the phone and bitch with people all day. Like, that's not good for your mind. Like, it's just not good, you know?
I mean, I wanted to make sure that you had the platform to say what you wanted to say to the people that needed to hear it. like you were saying in the beginning about this being like a dual life thing, to me it was
Yeah.
really important for me to give you like a platform to like kind of make a declaration of some sort, like here and now, to kind of make this the turning point of some sort of thing where you could come out of that dual life thing.
Mhm.
So
I have a question. Are you saying dual life because is it because this is your first time discussing it, right? And a lot of people don't know. Is that what you mean by dual life?
yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, like, it's interesting because I had a coworker years ago I used to work with, and she knew, but she goes, because of the fact that I worked out a lot, like I definitely had a moment where like I was like sick then, and it was after high school. But if you were to, I don't want to say, how do I say this? Sometimes I don't look the part, but I think that, and she said that to me, she's like, you don't look, like when I look at you, I don't see that you have that, because I have more of like an athletic build. So when I meet people, because like I said, I do work out, it's like until you really get to know me, and I feel comfortable, then I slowly start to hint at it, or I slowly start to, tell you a little bit more about me or why I am the way I am. And it's hard because it's like you live two separate lives. You look like something to other people, but then there's so much more behind it as to how I made this person.
What would you want to say to like somebody else who might be dealing with the same things and dealing in living this dual life? Like what would be your message to them?
So like I said, like me wanting to do this is more of like, I don't want to be 6 feet under. I want to be 6 feet above. I want to live my life. There's definitely days where I wake up and I'm like, I'm done. Like, no more. And it's extremely hard because it's like, it's always on your mind. But someone who's dealing with this, like, I want to tell them, it's okay. Like, what you go through, everything I went through has definitely made me the person who I am today. It is a struggle every single day of my life to just kind of break up with my ex, but I know it's always going to be there. I self-treated myself. I didn't seek out help because of the fact that I didn't want somebody to lock me up and control me. So I taught myself that, okay, these are the foods that you're allowed to eat. I still get everything I need. And someone who has an eating disorder, you do your research, you study, you read labels, you know what good things to put in your body. It's when you have that binge that you look for that whole pizza, that whole cheeseburger. You know that's not good for you, but you can get rid of it. And that was that whole thing. As I was constantly going down that cycle, and it's like, I know what to eat. I used to be a personal trainer. I know how to take care of myself. I need to remember I cannot let outside and thoughts control. And so someone who is secretly dealing with this, the biggest thing I can say is, it's okay. You have to take it day by day. You have to remember to love yourself, to put you first. The one thing I learned is it took me definitely a while to get into a routine to kind of see the effects. And that's why I went hardcore into clean eating, to where I only eat, certain foods that I know are going to give me exactly what I need. It's not easy. I was always afraid to speak out about it to my parents because of disappointment, and obviously I was just embarrassed. But I feel like if there's girls out there or guys, anybody who wants to seek professional help, go ahead and do so. It's okay. I don't know where I would be today if I did that. I just know where I am today because of what I did to myself. But I never want to see somebody lose their self because of this. And I think that this gets pushed under the rug more often than it should. And I just want everybody out there to know that it's okay to have this, just like any other disorder. And it's okay to talk about it, because once you do come out and you talk about it, I feel like it's definitely going to help you moving forward. And little girls, like my nieces, like that's the one thing that weighs on me, is the fact that they notice things already that like breaks my heart and kills me, because I don't want them to ever be in my situation and go through the things that I put myself through.
Can I ask you, where are you at with it now?
Like I said, like right now it's really hard because I can't work out. So I like force myself to do my workouts, you know, religiously. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I've definitely had days where I let it get to me, but I'm probably a lot better now than I was, you know, 3 or 2 years ago. I think the thing that makes me sad is it's just me still, you know, like I'm ready for that next chapter in my life. And I know that if I continue to let my ed take over, I'm never going to have that. And it's like, I'm ready, like I want to do it, but it's not happening. And sometimes I get sad and I let the ed come back into my relationship. And it's like, no, I need to get you out. So I'm not going to lie, like I definitely had my binges during the quarantine. And it pisses me off, you know, because you do so good, and then one rainy day ruins it for you. And so what I've tried to do is I also try to place things, like I have pictures of my nieces all over my condo for the most part. I have their drawings on the refrigerator. So I have things around my home to kind of remind me of who you are, why you're here.
So this is something that for you want to tackle on your own, like with God, with your religion, or whatever you practice. And that's kind of what you want to do. You don't see yourself trying to get professional help or anything like that.
That's a hard question for me to ask.
That's okay. That's okay. You don't
it's
have to.
It's kind of silly, but it's kind of like a frugal thing too, right? Like, I'll be honest, like I don't have insurance. So it's like, I already go to a psychiatrist, but he can charge me. And it's like, there's already things that like, I'm aware of my issues. And it's like, when you're in that feeling or that situation, it's like, okay, take 10 minutes, take 10 seconds, relax. Why are you this way? Like, it's okay. There's certain things that I do to kind of get myself past having a binge. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I talk to somebody, like I said, I love my parents so much. And I know that a lot of this is about perfection. And I feel like now at my age, talking to somebody professionally wouldn't really benefit me. Maybe if I was younger, yes, but at this age, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but
Oh, at the end of the day, you know, this is your story, and this is like your experience and what you feel is, you know, correct and stuff. But what I wanted to just say to everyone who's watching this is that, you know, your journey is not everyone's journey. Everyone has their own journey. People with eating disorders do not have the same journey. They do not have the same effects. And so I don't want to blanket anything as like blanketed advice. That's not what it is. Because, you know, I have people in my life that have eating disorders, and they, you know, they have gotten help, or they've gone to rehab centers, or they've done it on their own. So I just wanted to get that out there. I just didn't want to. I wanted to kind of see what your perspective was on it, but also note that it's also okay to ask for help, even if you're in your 30s.
I'm probably scared too. Like, I'm just the fact that, like, I mean, my mom knows, and like, she knows some things, you know, and it's like, if I were to go over and like have dinner with her and like eat a whole bunch, and I would think in the back of my head, does she think I'm going to go home and get rid of this? You know, and I'm probably scared to seek professional help because of things that maybe I already know, you know. And my father, like, bless his heart, like, he only knows maybe like a little bit, and to know that like he might fully know breaks my heart, because it's like, you don't want anybody to know. You want everybody to think that you're okay, but you're not okay.
No, I mean, there's a shame associated with this type of thing, right? I mean, that's why a lot of people don't discuss it, you know, like a lot of the times. And
you feel really dirty.
Yeah, you feel dirty because you know that self-awareness comes with this part. So you feel like if someone doesn't have, you know, an issue with food or body image, self-esteem, like, they're not going to understand it. So then they're going to judge it. And that's always the assumption that people will have about that stuff. But it really is getting away from that, you know, and like concentrating on like, how can I just be better? like for myself and not for anybody else. And that's way easier said than done. And there's so many layers that need to be peeled off to even get to that point, you know. At least that's been my experience and how I've seen things through.
Yeah, every day is a struggle. Sometimes it's hard because in the profession I'm in, sometimes like we'll talk about certain things and just in other conversations with people, sometimes people will see somebody and be like, well, they've got an eating disorder. They make comments and it's like, you were to take like 10 people in a room, we've all got something. We all just don't talk about it. And it's so interesting because sometimes people will just, they see somebody and they're like, well, they've got an eating disorder or they've got this, they've got that. And I'm like, there's so much more as to why somebody has some type of disorder or disease. It's not just about being that perfect person, that perfect body. So much more goes into it. It's definitely, you know, definitely illness, you know?
Yeah, it's deeper.
Yeah, and it makes me sad sometimes because I just want to shake people sometimes to be like, if you only knew the things that people do to themselves, and then they come out and they're just, hi guys, you know, and they just, I mean, it's sad. And it's like, I never want to wish anything upon anybody, but whatever you're hiding, whatever you're dealing with, it's okay to talk about it and come out. And I don't have a lot of friends. You know, I have my family, and I keep my circle close because of the fact that I always refer to myself as I am a delicate flower, but I'm also really strong. And if I didn't go through what I went through, then I wouldn't be the woman I am today. And I never really had a lot of people care about me. And that's the other thing, you're looking for someone to care about you, to love you. And when you don't feel that or you don't have that, you just beat yourself up.
Especially after this, you'll find that you have more people that care about you than you realize. That was another kind of like thing that motivated me to do this too, was because I definitely learned that in doing this, like by being myself publicly and like somewhat unapologetically, I realized that a lot of people gave a shit. A lot of people think that I don't like feel things or like that I'm kind of like this hard ass or like not emotional or whatever. But I think I am that way because I always just am like, nobody cares, bro. Like, that's just how I feel all the time. So I walk around just kind of like not expecting anybody to give a shit. But then like in starting to do this, and then the more I opened up and talked about like deeper things that were important to me, it made me realize like a lot of people do give a shit. So I think once we put this out, just be ready because you're gonna probably have a lot of people giving a shit.
It's funny you say that because I remember when you did the video on your mom, and I watched it, and like I kid you not, like when I watched the video when you talk about your mom, like it hit home with me because it's like you watch somebody be so raw and open, and I have to say, like I'm not a social media girl, and so your videos and the things that you two are doing, like I watch it, you know, and so. Good job, guys. So and it's like, and there was another, I won't say his name, but there was another individual who came out about something on Facebook that we both know and we went to school with, and I was like, you know, oh my God. And so there's, you pay attention, you listen to people, you watch people, you observe, and it's like other people to do that push, they give you that extra hand that you need to open up and to tell your story. And you know, it's important to me because there's been so many times where like I'm like, I can't believe I'm still here. And I hate to say it because I'm gonna have family members that might hear that, and it's like they would have never guessed that that's something that I would do, you know, or friends. And it's like it crosses my mind all the time. And it's just really hard. So it's like I'm happy that you guys are doing what you're doing because things that you're doing are, you know, you gave me the oomph that I needed to be like, I gotta like talk about this or get this out, because it's like, where else would I do this, you know?
It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me that we could do that. And
I mean, it means a lot to both of us. It's
yeah.
It's awesome. I don't know you personally, but it's awesome that you would pick you know, this platform to tell your story and stuff. It takes a lot of courage to talk about something like this that you're talking about, especially when you're not, you know, I think a lot of people are okay to talk about things when they're through it, but like you're still going through it. And so I think having that openness about it is really courageous on your part.
And this is the one thing I've learned about eating disorders especially, but other things too, is it's like, say you're a drinker, you're always going to have that situation where someone's going to be like, do you want a drink? Do you want a cupcake? You know, for me, it's like, I'm always going to be surrounded by food. And it's like, this is always something that's going to be with me. And it is hard. And it's like, you get presented with something on a daily basis. And it's like, how am I going to tackle this? And it's like, I can get through this, but it's always going to be with me. I'm always going to say, like, why do I need that cupcake? Like, what's that cupcake going to do for me? So it's always something that's going to be with me, but it's just, you have to surround yourself with people who do care about you, who do love you, to help you get you through those processes. And it's really hard being alone and going through it on your own, because right now I am the only person who's getting myself through it.
It's a pretty good point to stop it. This is probably going to be a 2-part thing, Ashley. I'm not going to lie, so just get ready for that.
Maybe Little Man will come on. He lost 7 keys. I just pretend I was going to give him a treat to get him. Little Man! Hi! He's
I knew this episode would not be complete without it making an appearance.
My whole condo was like Pomeranian. But this is Little Man. He had 7 teeth removed yesterday.
Wow, look at
He's got like little fur boots because they had to give him the IV.
Aw. I appreciate you being on the show. And
Thank you.
And shout out to everybody who watched our first quarantine edition show.
Yeah.
And
let's go.
Hopefully we can do some more of these and regain some sort of sense of normalcy out of this crazy horse shit. Yay.
It'll be over soon, hopefully.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you, guys. Love you all.
Peace out.
Thank you, Ashley, for coming on our show and telling your
Ashley.
story. It's super courageous of you, and you know, we appreciate your honesty, and I think, you know, you telling your story and lifting this off of your chest is a great step for you. We wanted to address this issue because we know that there are a lot of things and a lot of issues that people may be dealing with during quarantine, and being surrounded by food and having to manage your own food is something that you may be going through. We wanted to give her a platform, but we also wanted to be very careful and let you guys know that, you know, her story is her story. Doesn't mean it is your story. It is okay to reach out. There's so many different resources out there. We'll put some numbers to like the National Eating Disorder Hotline. You can call and like chat and seek help. You know, there's different groups out there, and we'll list it all like in the links below when Tony edits this. I just wanted to let everybody know that there are so many resources out there. You do not have to do this on your own. Reach out and find a community, find people that you trust, and, you know, try to get the help that you need.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Yeah. Can't wait. We miss you guys.
Should we still do the walk-off?
Okay.